Welcome back to episode 3 of Who's the A-Hole. For those of you who don't know, my name is Rob Very, and I've got my lovely co-host,
Helen.
Hey, Helen, how are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Not too shabby. I'm just excited to get into these. I know we've we've had a lot of our own stuff, but it's going to be nice to have some things that are other people that are also ridiculous.
True.
Well, I guess with that being said, let's not waste any time. If you want to go ahead and read to the people this very first one, it is interesting.
Yes. Well, here's the title. Am I the asshole? I insulted my wife in front of my family. Me and my wife have been married for 8 years. She told me she wants to be a stay-at-home wife when we got married because she didn't like her job that much. I was okay with it since I earned enough money for both of us. My mom had to drop out of school because she lost her parents at a young age, and she had to do manual labor to send her siblings to school. The Indian government then did not have any concessions for orphan kids. She had the choice to either go to school herself or send her siblings to school. Because of this, she dropped out in 8th grade at the age of 14. Both her siblings got employed in really good companies, and they took care of her since then until she got married. My dad passed away just 2 years after their marriage, and she had to take care of me on her own. Her siblings did help, but she worked 2 jobs along with that to support us both. Herself and me. I was an only child. My father died when she was pregnant with me. Today, we had a family get-together. My mom, her siblings, each of their kids, and daughter/son-in-laws, grandchildren, etc. After having dinner, my wife said we needed to leave early because our kids have to go to basketball, swimming, and also private tuitions tomorrow. My kids were begging her to let them stay for a little longer. My mom asked my wife if they can miss one day of practice to spend time with my family, since the kids also must have missed their cousins after not have met them for nearly a year. My wife retaliated, saying an illiterate woman wouldn't know the importance of education and extracurricular activities. My mom was clearly hurt and apologized for overstepping. I told my wife that literacy clearly hasn't taught her, my wife, basic manners. My wife got mad at me for insulting her in front of everyone and went back home with the kids. She's not picking up my calls or replying to my texts. Am I the asshole?
This whole thing is a disaster.
It is. Wow. Wow. Okay.
I remember looking at this and I was like, why is he telling this like entire story about his mom? Like, did he
his mom? And then now, okay, there's a clear reason why he's explaining the mom portion.
Yeah. Oh my God. So it's a clear thing that the wife knew about her mother-in-law, because she used that to make an insult.
Yes.
And it sounds like the sounds of it is like maybe this has been brewing in her head for a while, but just like, this is not an unreasonable request by the grandma, the mom. Like,
I mean, fair enough. Like, I'm assuming because, the pandemic, COVID, obviously a lot of families haven't been able to see one another, right?
Right.
And so obviously I feel like especially for children during this time frame, it's like really such an awkward time. Like, this is your time to socialize, grow those social skills, that foundation. And like, especially with, your cousins, obviously you're going to miss one another, right?
Yeah.
And like just that whole aspect of like having the opportunity to grow up with one another, to have that childhood, it's just like obviously like taken away. And so like obviously the grandmother just seeing the opportunity, like, yeah, it's been a year. I mean, that's quite some time. And it is a fair request. Like, what's one day compared to like one whole year of them not having, it's like just catching up on like quality time. And I have so much to say. Like, wow, this is really upsetting.
Please, like, because I kind of like, while like my mom didn't have as heartbreaking a tale as this mom, if I was married and my wife said something like that to my mom, like that is like it's almost deal breaker. Like,
I kind of completely do like sympathize with OP here, because both my family, like my parents, they left their home country to move to a brand new country, Canada, to find new opportunities to provide, their
Hmm.
children with a better future. And they left everything behind. With that being said, I learned a lot about the rest of my family, including my grandparents, and just like the things that they went through back home in Vietnam. Like a lot of them didn't have the opportunity, whether they were able to go continue like high school education level to university level, and that was due to many different reasons. I found out that my grandma herself never had any education at all, and she grew up
Damn.
on the streets.
Wow.
And so I have, a lot of respect for the people in my family, and I also have like an appreciation to have the opportunity to have an education, right? To have this opportunity to
Hmm.
learn, get a job, take care of myself, like all of that. Like I'm very, very
Right.
fortunate. And so it really baffles me that his wife is so not like, how do you not respect someone who literally given her like what would his mom, like the position that she was in? I think she made the right calls.
Right.
I think for her to sacrifice her own education just so that her siblings could have a better life, like
Yep.
she really stepped up to the plate and was like, yes, we all lost our parents, right? I mean, let's not forget, she lost her parents too. It wasn't just her siblings. She lost her parents too, but she took it upon herself to take that, like, basically step up,
Right.
right, to become the parent role
Became a
and take
parent at
care
14. Yeah.
at 14, nonetheless, right?
Yeah.
And you know what? She did a hell of a great job. I gotta say, not only was she able to support her siblings, send them to school, they were able to secure amazing jobs to the point where, they could all take care of one another. And I
Right.
find that really, like, that's very inspiring. I have so much respect for this woman. It's not an easy thing to do for sure, right?
Right.
And so that's why but it really does baffle me that this wife has the audacity to be so disrespectful to someone. Like you are so lucky, woman, that you weren't put in that position, because I don't think you would have the strength or the willpower if you were in her position, to
Not
make
not
the
by
same
not by the
calls.
sounds of it. Like she even
Like,
said, she told me she wants to be a stay-at-home wife when we got
yeah,
married because she
right? It's
didn't
very
like her
evident.
job. Like,
Yeah, exactly. What, like, wow, you are so fortunate and privileged. Like,
yeah,
how lucky are you to be in that position to even be like, yeah, I don't like my job. I'm just gonna be a stay-at-home mom, right? Like, not everyone has that luxury to even think like that.
no,
Especially your mother-in-law didn't have
no,
that. So, wow, no, the husband in like OPU are not the asshole, not in my eyes. And actually, I gotta point this out because this is what really bothers me as well. Is it says right here at the bottom of the post, my wife got mad at me for insulting her in front of everyone. Well, you know what? Your wife insulted your mom in front of everyone. Double standards much?
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. Very, very hypocritical.
yeah,
Like who knows how much that hurt the mother? Like it's
I
so
know.
it's dismissing everything. It's saying that the only thing that matters is that you are literate. Nothing else you did to even make it possible for like this wife to exist with this her the mom's son would have happened if she didn't make all those choices to get there.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
that was a sacrifice that was made. And again,
Exactly.
there's no way that the husband, the son, he didn't tell his wife when he told the tale that she had to choose because of the culture and the government then in India
Hmm.
to do that. She had to choose to sacrifice her own
Exactly.
education in order to do that. I think the ultimate comeuppance here. This is probably crazy. I want this guy to forget about the wife. Still raise the kids, but don't care. To ask his mom if she wants to go to school. and then she goes and then just
Ah,
like totally blows his wife out of the water. That would be amazing, because it's not like, the sounds of it, it's not for lack of wanting. It was, that was what had to happen. And then,
yeah.
you're raising families and stuff. There's only so much time and and stuff to do. I don't know. This guy seems like he's worried. He actually gave an explanation for why they think they might be the asshole, because he said, "I believe I might be the asshole for not siding with my wife and insulting her," and I'm just like, okay. I mean,
Like, okay, I understand, like, there is that mentality, like, oh, you should always like have your partner's back and support them, and you shouldn't insult them in front of everyone. But there's always that but. There is an exceptions to that, right? Like, in this case, I think OP did make the right call to stand up for his mom, because that she was being insulted, that she was being disrespected, and his wife was really overstepping and just flat out rude. And sometimes people need a wake up call, like they need to get checked.
yes.
And this wife needed to get checked.
And that's really what it's for. It's always interesting in these, especially like, we hear all these things from all different cultures,
Right.
and there's in different places and different cultures, there's different hierarchies, and how
Hmm.
like you're supposed to be. And
Yes.
and for me, in the modern age, and how I was raised, when you are in a romantic relationship with someone, you are partners, you are
Yeah.
equivalent. There's no up or downs about it. And
Hmm.
provided that the upbringing was positive, and there wasn't any abuse or anything, parents are people that we show respect to,
Yes.
unless we have some very incredibly valid reason not to. And not being literate is not a valid reason to not show respect to these parents.
Exactly.
And it sounds to me like I can't tell necessarily, but there's a chance here that the mother invited all these people into her home, and
Yeah.
this wife had the audacity to try to insult in such a way. For what? Because
Like,
she
on it,
didn't want her kids to miss some practices or something, like.
one day of practice, but like I don't think the mother like even said anything rude. I think it was a valid request, like,
Yeah, she just asked for, an extra day with them.
yeah, one extra day for everyone, not just for herself, but for everyone. She's
Hmm.
right, very considerate, and um like, the way I see it is quality time with family, like, especially when you're not able to see each other that often. Like, when are you going to be able to spend that time again, right? Like, for me, um I haven't seen my cousins, my aunties, or my uncles since pre-COVID. It's been quite some time now,
Yeah,
right?
I haven't seen I
And
haven't seen my folks for years at this
yeah,
point.
and like, and it's really unfortunate because, like, I am missing out on seeing my cousins grow up, seeing them, like, entering high school, or like seeing them about to finish university and all that. Like, they're really grown now, and like, it feels weird missing that aspect of their life and being involved. Like,
Hmm.
like, my family were very, very close. It's very common for us to have a big family get-togethers. Like, we would plan going to like a Chinese restaurant, just to have like a big like a dinner with everyone. And mind you,
Hmm.
like, when I say my family's big, we're pretty big. My dad has like 6 brothers,
Oh God.
3 sisters, and everybody has basically kids, minimum between 2 to 3, around
Yeah,
there.
my
It's
family's
a big
tiny
family,
now.
right?
Mine's
It's a big family. I
tiny
got
now.
I got a lot of cousins. And so it is a very big deal for us because we're very close. We're very, very close. So
Hmm.
with COVID, it's been very, very difficult to maintain that.
Right.
So obviously, I kind of understand where the grandmother is coming from. Like, that that having that time spent with family is irreplaceable. Like, you just, compared
Yeah,
to,
yeah. And And like from my perspective, I'm completely opposite. Actually, a fun fact about me is I don't have any first cousins.
Oh,
Yeah, a lot of my extended family are dead now. So for me, the perspective is we don't know how much time we have left with these people.
well, yeah, exactly. It's
And
true.
not just that we haven't seen each other, we don't even know how much time is left. And like
Mhm.
the only kids that are in my family now, like immediate family, my brother has 2 kids, and I literally like I barely know anything about them really because I don't see them at all. We're hundreds of miles away from each other. So having the opportunity to be able to see the family and it go well, and there's a request for only one additional day, I think I
Yeah.
could oblige that, provided that it was just a drive and not like scheduled flights and stuff. Like
Hmm.
that's so easy to oblige. Like you don't even have to you don't even have to think about it. They miss a practice or a day of school or something, it's not going to destroy their whole education forever.
It's not going to affect their future, you know? It's
No.
not
No, and
like
like it's not going to have the same effect as when the mother had to sacrifice her education. That's not it's like
yes, yes, exactly. Exactly.
like the balance is not it's not there for it at all. And I don't know. I think moving forward, this the guy needs to like go to his wife. I that's part the one of the things I never understand about these when it's a husband and wife or two spouses, I guess, is that she's not even picking my calls or replying to my texts. So go. That's my only qualm. It's like you need to go there. You can't let this fester. The mom
I
knows what
agree.
happens because it happened right in front of her, and he's gonna be like, "I'm so sorry. I'm gonna take care of this." And if she won't issue an apology to you, we're gonna have to have a serious talk. And I
Yeah.
apologize so much. And if I was that guy, I would plan for an extended visit, provided pandemic doesn't prevent it.
Right, right,
uh,
exactly,
and
exactly.
I'd almost plan it without the wife. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's just me being petty, but I don't understand waiting. This guy needs to go speak to his wife, find out why that just happened. How dare she speak that way to her? He can apologize if he'd like about his, I guess, outburst. But I think the mom had a right to hear what her son had to say about that.
Yeah.
I think
Mhm.
that's fair. But
You know what's
like
just really upsetting is
ah
like we just know so much details about OP's life. Like not only about like his mom, the fact that he never really had a father figure either. So it was really not only did his mother raise, her siblings, but really took it upon herself to again raise, him by
right.
herself again,
Yep.
right? And why I just can't understand like why the wife doesn't see like, yeah, the husband you've chosen to marry, like he is the man, he is the person he is today because of the grandmother. You know what I mean?
And
So it's like,
yeah. Oh, and I guess for me, I just want to make sure it's clear. Like I'm not saying to always revere everything this mother says and does. Like she can still
yeah, I agree,
be dumb about stuff.
exactly.
That's fine.
Yeah, yeah,
There's two things, and also I'm not saying necessarily that the wife had to agree to it either. Uh,
yeah,
I think it would be best in this situation with the information we have that she stops being having a stick up her butt, but it all could have been fine if she just said something else. If she would have said, oh, these particular practices are very important for the kids, or if they miss one, they might get kicked off the whatever it is for. You could have said anything instead of saying you don't understand how important this is because you are illiterate. There's so many
mm.
better ways, even if you just came up with some BS for saying no. Like there's so many
You
ways.
could have been like, unfortunately, like I don't feel comfortable of them missing a day because that's a lot of money thrown into, like, the basketball, the swimming,
Yeah.
the tuitions, whatever it was, right? Like that's a valid excuse to be like, yeah, I understand where you're
Right.
coming
And
from,
any
but
of
like
that.
just we've spent so much money, like I don't want them to like
Right.
miss out on that. That's I get that.
Shoot, she could have even just went, um, that sounds really lovely, but I think we need to talk about that to see if it's okay or not. And just pull the husband
Yeah,
aside and have a conversation.
yeah,
And if the wife
yeah.
wants to just say to the husband, your mother doesn't understand, that's way different than saying it to the mother.
Yes, yes.
Like she
There's like a
still
time and
could
place.
have been her a-hole self privately.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, I agree. I agree. I agree.
So it just it was all mishandled.
I agree. I mean, the title had me worried because it was like, wow, he insulted his wife in front of his family. But then now that I understand, I was like, him insulting, I feel like, yes, maybe the wife would have taken it that way, but the way I see it was like he was just pointing out facts. It was like, yeah, you were being incredibly rude, right? Like I said,
Yeah.
the wife needed to be checked.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, 100%. And that's what I mean. Like when for me, and again, different cultures, but for me, where I married or in a long-term relationship, especially if we had kids, if things like this happened and I did some dumb garbage like that, I would want her to check me right then and there so that I can correct it. Yeah, obviously I know I'll be emotional in the moment, but I'd rather be checked so that it can be resolved quicker and I can adjust my behaviors than for whoever I slighted to just be upset with me, and they probably won't say anything from like in a lot of cases. So you kind of depend on your partner to do that. So I don't think he should feel bad at all. I think yes, it was, a little aggressive and a little over the top of a reply. It was clever and right on point and
yeah,
expressed what he needed to express right then and there.
yeah, exactly.
So, if she wants to go, he said, you just say to mom, like, obviously, that was a little tense. So I'm going to go with her and get this calmed.
Yeah, because sometimes you just have to deal with it privately in a different setting.
Right.
Right? Maybe not in front of the rest of the family.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Get a new set of eyes on a new fresh head on it as well. I'm looking at the comments a little bit. Most of them are pretty much saying what we've been saying. They're actually, there's of course people suggesting that he gets divorced. This happens so often with these partner situations. Like I think that's a little tense. But
I feel like people saying to get divorced, it's just an easy way to just resort to that mind of thought, because it's like, wow, how can you be with someone like that? But like, I mean, it's not always easy, especially in an Asian culture, because divorce is really looked down upon. Divorce is like very taboo. You try not to like talk, like even think about it. So and when kids are involved, it gets very, very difficult. A lot of the time, they'll always use the kids as an excuse to be like, no, we got to stay together for the kids. Even though they know it's not a healthy relationship, they shouldn't be with one another, they'll still, stick to it. Because to them, they're justifying it as, but it's for the kids, right? And so I feel like this might be the case, like obviously he loves his wife, he loves his family, he wants to, support them. But from reading comments, he sees how his wife can be, and that's why he doesn't force his wife to have a relationship with his mother, because he's also trying to look out for his mom, and he doesn't want his mom to get hurt in the process.
Right.
So he doesn't want to force that too much. So it's not like he's not oblivious. He's very well aware.
Yeah, right? and this is,
and that's hard.
That's very difficult. But again, this is the kind of situation where it's like, it could be an indicator of how she is in general, but he also likely knows that already, and
yeah, but it's like
accepts and moves through it.
I know, but like, how much are you gonna like just be like have a blind eye to it, right? Like clearly finally tried to put his foot down,
right.
and was like, "You were incredibly rude to my mom," and she took it and blew up. It's like now you need to have an actual serious sit down conversation about this, right? Like maybe not in front of everyone, obviously,
No,
but
no. You
it
pull
needs to
aside
be
for it.
it needs to be dealt with, right? You can't just like try to keep the peace. I think that's what he's been trying to do, is try to keep the peace with everyone, try to make everyone happy, and
Yeah,
an
I can
ideal
see
situation,
that.
you want that, right? Like obviously you want to keep the peace, but the thing is, like, someone's always going to get hurt, intentionally
Well,
or not, right?
yeah.
Evidently. So
Yeah.
you're just going to have to deal with it.
So
He's going to
what?
have to talk to his wife.
Right. While I understand like the calls for divorce or separation or whatever, besides everything you were mentioning, like we also don't know everything either.
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know what kind of relationship they actually have. What if like they actually do have a really great marriage? It's just when the wife is around the mother,
right,
is like a whole different story. We don't know. We don't know everything,
we,
right?
we have no clue. Now, one great comment I saw was suggesting there was one of those quizzes by like psychologists to see how healthy your relationship is. Now, maybe the quiz itself is stupid, but it could help identify some stuff. But I would think that if this is an ongoing issue, a fine suggestion is talk it out, and if you can't come to a resolution, get some help to get to a resolution like that, so you guys can continue to be healthy and happy. And then just like as a side note, again, I come from a completely different perspective when it comes to divorce, because I think everybody screws up, and you can screw up who you marry as well. And I think from the people I've personally known, there have been folks who their parents stayed together for the kids, didn't want to be shamed.
Yeah.
And it made the kids have way worse issues as adults than if they would have split up.
No, I agree with that. I'm not saying that is the right way.
Oh, no, I didn't think you were, but I just kind of wanted to make sure that we had both perspectives on,
trust me.
on this. Yeah, I'm sure you're very, very well aware.
I'm quite aware, but I don't agree with everything about how Asian cultures deal with things. I understand. Doesn't mean that I'm okay with it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so well, hopefully they can get it sorted and everybody can calm down, and if the wife can't
this is
cool
one of those
her jets,
that I want like an update. Like, so did you talk to your wife? How did things go? Is she gonna,
the unfortunate thing is that the actual account for this post has been suspended.
Oh, that's
so I can't even look if anything else happened.
Yeah, that's unlucky.
So with that being said, I guess we could just go ahead and just hop over to the other one that we have here today. It is a much different vibe, but there's probably some similarities within it. I'll just read it and see what you think.
Okay.
So the title is, "Am I the asshole for leaving my birthday party because my sister showed up?" I love these titles. Some people are so good at titles.
All right.
Here we go. "I caught my former brother-in-law making out with another woman, but when I told my sister what I witnessed, she dismissed it and pretty much called me a jealous, ugly girl with no future who is trying to ruin her marriage because I was jealous of all the things she had. She yelled at me for half an hour making fun of all my insecurities and fuck-ups." That is literally just the first paragraph. "I was 17. I was just a child who loved her sister and wanted the best for her. I stopped talking to her and everyone thought I was lying. I already had low self-esteem. Her words didn't help at all, and I, on bad days, still think about what she said. They were together for 3 more years before she realized that he was lying to her. She tried to apologize and build up a relationship again, but I was done with her. Everyone in my family has been asking me to forgive her, and I haven't. She hurt me when she said all those things about me. It was my birthday last week. My mom wanted to host a small party. I told her that I didn't want my sister to attend. She said she wouldn't invite her. She did turn up. I think mom invited her. I was incredibly upset. My girlfriend asked me if I wanted to leave, and I nodded. She found the right moment and slipped out without anyone noticing. I told mom about 5 minutes after we left. Everyone is upset with me. My dad thinks I was childish. My mother is not speaking to me because I embarrassed her in front of the family. I feel like shit because I just wanted to be away from my sister and I didn't care what happened or what mess I left for my family. And now she did include why she thinks she might be the asshole.
Oh, she did. Okay.
Everyone is upset with me. My dad thinks I was childish. My mother is not talking to me.
Right, okay.
I feel like shit, but I didn't care. So it's the same. It's just the last paragraph again.
Okay. She's just, okay. I get it now.
Yeah. So
The last part. Damn, Joe. This
unpack this.
Yo, P, you. That first paragraph, you really went right in there. Like, wow. So, given the context of why she didn't want her sister to show up to her party, her birthday party, nonetheless, I don't think she's the asshole. I think her family they're all assholes for not respecting her wishes or trying to be understanding of what happened. Like, that is traumatizing. Imagine being 17 and everyone thinks you're lying. Right? Why would, right? And not just that, like, everyone thinks you're a liar, but your sister has the audacity to basically trauma dump on you.
Right? Exactly.
She thinks she's in the right to do that because she thinks you're lying and you're just jealous, right?
Yeah. It's not just lying.
Believes that you're lying too. So obviously, not even having one person believe you, that I can only imagine how, like, fucked up your mental would be at such a young age.
Right.
Like 17 is the age where you're still like figuring out yourself. You might have a lot of like self-esteem issues. You might still try to build up that confidence. Like all of that just like literally just dismantled and destroyed. Like the foundation is not there. I feel so bad for her. Like, I don't blame her for not having anything to do with the sister, right? Like, it's on her terms. Only when she is ready, whether she wants to. And even if it comes to a point where she decides, yeah, I can let go of this incident, but I still don't want to have a relationship with my sister, that is fine. Yeah. She is valid in whatever decision that she makes, right? And like, her family needs to respect that. They really need to respect that. And like, I'm wondering that the ones that, like, her family, I'm assuming her family thought she was lying about it, right? Like, was the sister the only one to apologize? I'm hoping the family apologized as well. Like, do you guys not know, like, how much you contributed to this incident? Like, I just feel so bad for her. And then literally the mom fucked up so bad. Oh my God. Literally, she makes one request. Please, you can host this birthday party for me. I just ask that you don't invite the sister. She said she wouldn't, but she clearly lied. And then is trying to make it about herself because she feels embarrassed. Well, you know what? You should feel embarrassed for not respecting your daughter's boundaries, because you don't just have one daughter. Yes. Okay?
Oh my gosh, yes. That's exactly what this is. This entire thing is a healthy exercise of OP setting boundaries.
And she has every right to do that. So that's why I really feel like she's not the asshole. She has every right to set boundaries and to really reinforce why it's so important to her that her words, her wishes should be respected. Like, why does she have to back down? Right? Like, after seeing the sister show up at the party, why does she have to back down and be like, fine, the sister can be here? No.
Yeah, why?
I'm glad that she stood up to herself and made it a point where it was like, that was not okay what you guys did, and I hope you don't do that again. And I won't blame her if she wants nothing to do with her family. Honestly,
this theme happens so often in a lot of these posts and a couple other places, that there is a family issue between two family members, and the solution is typically to, when one is there, the other is not.
Yeah.
And I think that's fine. But for whatever reason, either it's a parent or a sibling of the parents or the oldest sibling, there's somebody who thinks the only way to get their like perfect little family picture back is to just have them both show up at a place and
It's called an ambush, by the way, and I don't agree with ambushes.
No,
that is such a shitty thing to do to somebody.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. They think just by putting them together that it's
gonna magically just repair and fix everything.
Yep. There's a really good comment that I wanted to read real quick because it's right on what we're saying. Not the asshole. I love that dysfunctional families always want the person that was wronged to just let it go and forgive, so they can go back to pretending nothing ever happened and they get to play happy families. For all of them, each and every one of them, it's better for you to forgive because it makes their life easier. It was embarrassing for them because you showed the truth. They couldn't hide it. Let them know if they do that again, you'll do the same thing. So if having you around doesn't work for them, well, then there's an easy solution for that.
I agree.
I think that was a very poignant comment. There's too often this never-ending push for the elimination of strife when it involves family. And I've said it before, even in this show, I've said it for all my life. Your family does not need to be your friend. That is never the case. And if your family are a bunch of jackasses, so long as there's no dependency you have on them anymore for anything, there's absolutely no reason for you to keep talking to them, just like you would do with any other person. If there's a coworker you don't like, you dodge them. If there's somebody in like a friend group and, you know, they're saying, hey, we're getting together, here's all who's going to be there. It's like, I'll pass, you know, because that person's there. You know, it's very simple. It makes perfect sense. But for some reason, because you have similar DNA to each other, you all have to be honky-dory, get along. And the reason why I've been saying this pretty much my whole life, I'll share a little tale, and I'll apologize in advance to my dad if he ever hears this, because it's not very fun for him to think about. When I was very, very young, and I think my next, like the brother closest in age to me, I think he was little as well. An incident occurred at a family gathering of some kind, where his sister insulted my mom in a very disgusting way. I don't remember exactly what it was. I only learned about it later because I didn't remember it as a kid either. I didn't. I was in the room, but I didn't know what it was. And they told me what it was much later because I was like, what is the deal? The reason why I was always so curious growing up is because we never saw her anymore.
After that incident.
After that incident, because my dad very strictly said, if you can't act like a person around here and my wife and my children, then you're not welcome. And the thing was, the whole, like, it was my mom's family was there too, and his family was there. So they all know what happened. They all knew exactly what it was. And though my dad's mom would very typically try to get them to make up, there was never a forcing of them being in the same place at the same time, to my knowledge. At least when us kids were around, they didn't force it. They did allow every now and then a phone call to occur, like on a birthday or whatever. But to us, she was just like kind of this like sleazy woman who was a jerk. And we never thought anything more of it until when I was like teenager. I was like, hey, what happened? why don't we see her anymore?
Right.
And there actually ended up being, I don't know exactly when this happened. I think it happened around this time. My dad's dad passed away, I think in like 2006. and my dad and his sister were, I believe, either at the funeral or at something related to it. Uh, and I believe she apologized. So
Okay.
it had been probably 15 years of that estrangement.
Wow.
My dad still
That's a
was
long time.
my dad still was not ready for like it to be normal again. But eventually it did kind of calm down and we started getting to see more. I mean, a lot of us were much older at that point just because it's me and three younger siblings. So like there was never a you don't talk to her kind of thing. It's a just remember she's an a-hole, so don't fall for anything kind of situation. But it eventually calmed. But he set, you know, there were many things growing up that like I didn't agree or wasn't happy with what my dad said and did. But thinking back on it now, it was a very healthy lesson when we were able to find
Mm-hmm.
out that even my dad, who didn't seem to have the capability to, I guess, handle confrontation in like a healthy way, usually was like yelling and threatening and stuff when he had problems with other adults. Um, but in a healthy way, he set boundaries and
Exactly.
made it so clear that you don't have to like your family. You don't have to be friends with your family. And if they wrong you and refuse to adjust or at least apologize, you have no reason to be near them. It doesn't matter.
It is.
It
Yeah.
didn't hurt us either. In fact, I think at times it helped us because sometimes she would send us money for our birthdays. And I think it was to try to make up for what she did. And I don't think she would have done that otherwise. So, you know, I got a few extra video games growing up because of that. So it worked. That part worked out. And that's what I'm saying with these type of situations. Sometimes siblings have problems. I know I had a problem, you know, involving one of my brothers because I didn't really particularly enjoy the person he chose to have kids with. And, you know, it didn't make us stop talking to each other, but it was a known thing. We just kind of, you know, you set the boundaries. There's nothing wrong with that. And never was there a situation where he or my parents or anybody involved did that ambushing thing. And every time I hear about this, I think about my dad and his sister and then that situation. And I'm like, oh my God, if that would have happened, like, would I have committed a felony? Like, I don't like, I don't know how I would have this sister simply left, right? Or brother. Actually, I have no,
Honestly,
I just realized there's no gender in there, but they could have blown up. They could have fought. There could have been police for all you know, right? I don't know. It just made me think about a lot of stuff.
Well, OP, you know, I'm so glad OP had the girlfriend there to help them get out of that situation. Honestly, I think they made the right call by picking a right moment, waiting for when, you know, maybe things were quiet, no one would notice, they would leave, and they did.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't cause a scene.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
I think they made the right call. Because they could have just made a scene. It could have been so much more worse. They could have added more fuel to the fire.
Yes.
But you know what? She was, and I believe OP is a girl because it says in the beginning here that the sister pretty much called me a jealous, ugly girl with no future.
Okay, that's where it said girl. Okay. I was like, where did it say that? Okay, yeah.
I think OP definitely, like, it could have just. The way I see it is, she could have blown up at the party, and even if she blew up the party, I would still sympathize and empathize with her because she has every reason. She's valid in her feelings because, like, if she were to explode at the party, her birthday party, nonetheless, let's not forget that her birthday party,
right?
She would have every right to because it's her birthday party. She should be happy at her birthday party. And if she's not happy because her family lied to her, right? And not only like gaslit / ambush her because instead of remembering that, oh, why are we here? Because it's OP's birthday. We're here to celebrate OP's birthday. They made it about them. They made it like, no, you need to make things up with your sister. This is the time to do it. And then when it didn't work out the way they wanted, you know, mom's like all embarrassed. Dad thinks she's childish. It's like, well, clearly it seems to me they really still don't understand. what
No,
had happened.
no. Or if they do, they just don't think it's as major as
Right,
the
that
sister
too.
does,
They
which also
probably think
sucks.
that sucks too.
Yeah.
So, like I said, like she could have, blown up at the party and yelled at everyone and then left like that, and
Yep.
that could have been so much more worse.
Yeah,
But
it
I
could have been
do
so much
think
worse.
the girlfriend like acknowledging, seeing what was happening, and being
Hmm.
respectful and understanding, they handled it, I think, in the best way possible.
Yeah, they did a great job, and I think so. And you mentioned it. The kind of last thing that I wanted to point out: my mother's not speaking to me because I embarrassed her. Why
That's
would
your
she?
fault.
Why would the mother be embarrassed unless
Mm.
she said to whoever was going to be there, "I invited my other daughter so that they could make up, and I just know they will." Otherwise, why would you be embarrassed that OP left unless you
Well,
did it?
fuck you for not respecting
Exactly.
your daughter's boundaries, okay? Because
That's
you,
what I
like I
think it
said,
was.
you don't just have one daughter, okay,
Right.
to consider and take care of.
Right. Like if the mother was very insistent on trying to get them to make up, okay? Here's as far as I would accept. The mother attempting, and it could be repeatedly, because I would understand this, and I already know, dealing with, especially with just people older than me anyway, if I have to keep repeating myself about something, it's not the end of the world, and I want to keep things cool. If she would keep trying to get them to agree to meet together or meet with a mediator of some kind, maybe a friend or another family member, that would be fine because it would be both of their choice.
Right, and it would be in a different setting.
Right. That's as far as I would accept from the mother or father, to be honest. Other than that, any of these ambushes or tricking people or, you know, basically deviously inviting is all awful and horrible, and I hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This isn't a really unfortunate incident, but OP, you're not an asshole.
OP, you are not an asshole. 100%.
You're definitely not an asshole at all. Your family is, and I'm
100%.
sorry for that.
I think it may be time, OP, for you to have a discussion with mom and dad and make sure that they understand, just like one of those comments said, if they try to do this again, then you will not be speaking with them either.
And that's fair. That's fair.
I think that's a boundary that needs to be set.
Yeah, I agree. And that last sentence right here, like she says, I feel like shit because I just wanted to get away from my sister. I didn't care what happened or what mess I left for my family. That's okay. That priority in that moment was your well-being. You probably really didn't feel safe and distraught and probably a lot of anxiety. And
Yes, for
honestly,
sure.
for you to feel, I understand that feeling. When you feel like that, the priority is yes, take care of yourself. Where don't even think about what kind of mess happens after that, because you know what? If you weren't put in that position, you wouldn't have done, or like that wouldn't have not what you would have done, but like it wouldn't have been like that outcome.
Right.
Where your dad would be like, oh, she's just being childish, or your mom feeling embarrassed was like, you know what? That's on them. That's not on you, because you did make it clear. Don't invite the sister.
It's literally, you had one job.
Like literally, such a simple request.
You had one job. Oh, goodness.
Like it's a birthday party. It's supposed to be about you. You
Exactly.
know, it's supposed to be a
Exactly.
good time. I don't. It blows my mind how people just somehow always make things about themselves, or they have their own agenda. It's just like,
People it's always me, and how I look and how I feel rather than taking anybody else into mind. And the fact that they do that, and when the OPs does that for themselves but in a positive way, then they're upset.
Mm-hmm.
Then they're upset. It's like, I don't know, man. And the sad thing is, this to me is a very, very like simple, light version of the ridiculous ambush tactics and getting people back together that I've even read through these or heard.
Interesting. Okay.
So that's why it's so disgusting, because it starts like this, and this is the beginning of like such awful behavior, what else are you going to try to force these, people in your lives to do? And
So
it's
sad because
gross.
like everyone's trying to tell OP like how to handle the situation. And it's like it's so unfair because you're basically saying like you're invalidating her feelings, you know? Like everything that she feels, everything that she's still obviously like
Yeah.
dealing with. Like I hope she's like she has a therapist or like it's like seeking professional help about this because it's clearly very traumatizing,
That
you
is
know?
that is trauma, and if it's getting thrown in her face constantly, then she's not
Yeah.
having the chance to deal with it herself. So yeah, I do hope she's able to get some
Like
kind
I
of help.
could you imagine being 17? Everyone thinks you're a liar. Like your entire family thinks you're lying. That you're trying to break up your sister's marriage,
Because you're jealous of it.
right?
Like,
And then your own sister that you love and you're trying to protect,
yeah, you're trying to
like
do it.
has the audacity to be like, you're a
Oh,
jealous, ugly girl with no future, and this is being repetitively said over and over and over again for half an hour.
And that's why it hit me so hard, because this is one of my like very top fears, and things that have really hurt me before is when I am doing something that I'm trying my best out of love or, companionship of some kind, compassion, to help a person in a situation because of something I know. And they just turn it and throw it at you and make you the bad person for it.
Yeah, yeah.
That, I've had it happen in my life a couple times, and just thinking about it, it makes it so hard for me, and especially in those crazy situations where you catch someone. What do you do about that? uh
It is not easy, let me say.
it's so difficult, so
Because
difficult.
I've caught a few people cheating, and then let me tell you, that is such an easy thing to go through.
Yeah, it is not.
No, it's not.
It is
Because
not.
most of the time, instead of taking ownership, they'll make you into the bad guy.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep. And
not
this is
fun.
it's always a case of protecting like what it's supposed to be, the relationship or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
It's always this protective, uh defensive thing. It's like fight or flight, except you never fly. And you always fight to protect whatever that is. These conceived notions that you want people to have of you, and that's what it comes
Mhm.
down to so much of the time. Meanwhile, I think we should wrap it up here. Meanwhile, we all know that we're all fucked up. Every family's fucked up.
Problems, all
Yes,
right?
they all have their own
Everyone has
problems.
their own problems. Everyone's going through their own
There's
things. You're not the special exception, okay? Everyone's
no,
going through it.
no. You see idealized things in media. You don't see, and it's funny because when you do see more real stuff in media, it either blows up and does incredibly well, or people just don't want it.
That's true.
So, I say maybe a message out to everybody is, don't worry about that perception. Do your best to do what's right, what makes you feel good, and as long as it's healthy and not hurting anybody,
Exactly.
that's
You are
what you got
your
to
own
focus on.
priority, and
Yes,
don't forget that. And it is a-okay if you need to step up and make yourself the priority to take care of yourself because you
absolutely,
deserve it. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. And Helen and I have had a lot of conversations in the past couple of years about boundaries in our own lives, and
Exactly.
it was very hard for us to do it too. We had to come to various realizations many times about things happening in our lives. It's not going to happen overnight, and
Hmm.
stories like this should be inspiring to have you set those boundaries. That's what I think.
I agree.
All right, well, I guess that's it then.
Yeah, that's it for episode 3.
Thank you everybody for listening or watching. We do appreciate all of you doing that. Whoever is out there, we have a lot of fun making these. Even even if we scream afterwards.
Ah, man, I get emotionally invested. What can
Yeah,
I
we're invested
say?
in these. But You can follow us. You can find me on Twitter at verygood, VARYGOODE. And Helen, if you want to shout yours out.
Mine's _doomsdaygal, GAL.
All right. And please, if you have any awesome threads of people wondering if they're assholes, send them our way, either on Twitter or any other ways you can find us. And have an absolutely amazing day. And remember, if you think you're not the asshole, you might want to ask us. Goodbye.